You know what time it is. Get your drink, pull up. Let's talk about another super important topic. So again, this is a topic that one of my subscribers asked me to discuss and talk about. I have done another video where I ventured into, you know, preparing for other family members, right? Pets, elderly, children. I have talked specifically to women, children, infants, right? That video was really going over items that you could buy and purchase, or to think about purchasing or think about adding to your preps that had specifically to do with women, children, and infants, okay? So I'll try to link those videos when I do this video today. Don't even mind my paint everywhere. That's just a normal thing now because, you know, obviously we're still painting. It's a large house and it's a tedious, slow process at times. And so never worry when you see paint over all my clothes. It's just part of me now. So let's get into it. So I labeled this, see, I drank hoping that would help me from coughing, but it didn't work, okay? Ways to protect or survive total chaos as a woman. Basically, somebody asked me to speak to being a woman. How are you going to deal with being a woman? What is your advisement about being a woman? You know, that type of thing during SHTF, okay? And that's a serious thing. There's been several other channels that have discussed the importance of this, things that you can do to basically, you know, prepare or to do some things to get ready to bolster and to be a little bit stronger in that area. Because the reason why it's such a big topic is because when chaos happens, when total collapse happens, when something major happens where people are like, majority of the people get on the road and go get on their cars and they're going to this magical place, that type of situation where it's crazy, 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 okay? It really doesn't matter at that point how we got to that, but when the world gets to that chaotic point, that's when it's the most dangerous. That's when murder, mayhem, pillaging, looting, raping, that's when all of that stuff is happening. People are taking advantage of other people. People are hurting other people. And it's not that women are weaker, okay? It's not that we are weak or we can't handle ourselves or we can't make it. I'm going to give you an example in here, but it's just the point of having to think it through a little bit more, okay? And these are just things that we're doing to prepare, and my philosophy or thoughts directly when it comes to children and women, children, okay? And how do we handle ourselves during a SHTF situation, okay? All right, so first I have is, you know, and some of these, you guys, these are my opinions, okay? But, and I'll try to explain some of them, but my very first one is trust no one. You know, when it gets to total collapse, you know, oftentimes we say, hey, you can't trust people anymore. You're going to get to a point where you're going to have to make hard decisions, and you may have to say no to a family because you just don't know, right? Somebody might be asking for help. You just don't know. Now, this is a tactic. This is a war tactic, is why I say trust no one. And especially you do not trust other women and children. And now, some of you might be like, that's harsh. Like, you should be able to take care of your sisters and their children and things like that. But you cannot trust anybody. And women and children are going to be exploited, okay? You have a lot of women that their survival tactic to save them and their children is gonna be to attach themselves to an alpha person. Not even alpha male, could be an alpha male, could be another alpha female, but their dynamic for survival is gonna be to attach to somebody else. They're not a leader, they are clearly a follower, and they want to stay safe, and that's going to be how they do that. The problem is that they could be exploited to be used as tactics and you know, luring tactics for luring you out, asking you questions so that that person or people can get at you and your children, okay? So unfortunately, if the world is going totally left, it's crazy, it's chaotic, you're trusting nobody at this point, okay? Anybody, but especially other women and children, girls, kids, that type of thing, okay? You need to be very, very cautious, okay? You can't just see a kid that needs help and just immediately be like, oh, they need help. You have to really assess that situation, okay? Because you are taking a very, very big risk doing that, okay? And hopefully your judgment is there enough that, like, okay, if something has just happened and you have neighbor kids or you have people that are your surroundings helping, like it has just kicked off, that's not necessarily the time that I'm saying don't help people, because everybody is in a chaotic situation at that point. Okay, so make that decision. But I'm saying as we move into things, as things develop, as entities rise up, that's where you're not moving forward trusting people like that. Talking about, I'm going to start a community and I'm just going to bring everybody in. Okay, you have to be very, very careful. Next thing I have is must carry. So this is not necessarily, bang bangs, but this is must carry defensive tools. You've got to get comfortable with that. I'm not saying they have to be lethal, okay? But in a time of crisis, of chaos, when you ask my opinion of keeping women and girls and kids safe, you must carry defensive tools. You've got to have something on you that is a defensive tools, okay? In my opinion, multiple, okay, options, both throughout the house, on your person, in your bags, everywhere you could think of. You have to have defensive stuff. And there's all types of stuff you can get, like I said, lethal, non-lethal, things that don't even look like they're a defensive tool, okay, so that it's not out in the open and everybody can tell. But you've got to get that on lock, okay? That is a must. That can be the difference of somebody messing with you or not messing with you. If you are assertive, you know what you're doing, they're not going to be messing with you, okay? They're going to think twice about messing with you, okay? So must carry, multiple stuff. I'm just going to say items, okay? I'm not going to tell you that you need to go out and get some kind of bang bang. I am not telling you that to do that at all. But if you are comfortable with that, then yes, okay? But there's other things that you can get, okay? Next thing I have is learn defensive tactics and moves while you can, right? Take defensive classes. Make that a regular thing, okay? People go to the gym as a regular thing, right? For your health. Defensive thing is the same, right? If you can't afford a nonstop type class as you go to, like, hey, just like you would go to your yoga class, you go to your defensive class. If you can't do that, at least pay and go to, a one-time defensive moves and learn those. The things is so that you don't forget that stuff or whatever. Practice that stuff, right? Practice in the backyard with your kids. Just make sure that you guys stay fresh in that stuff. But defensive moves and knowing how to just maneuver out of a move or a hold, even having defensive tools pointed at you, that type of thing, and learning how to navigate through that literally could save your life or give you just enough few seconds to get out of something, to get away, okay? Or for somebody else in your family member to then engage, safely now with their defensive tool. Okay, so whatever the case is, learn defensive moves, take some classes and learn that, okay? I think everybody needs to learn that, but women and children need to learn that, okay? If you're looking for something for your kids, put them in some karate, put them in some defensive move type stuff, okay? Next thing I have is concealment, okay? So concealment, it, could be gray man, could be, camouflage-y type, but I'm not really talking about that. I'm talking about camouflage in the sense of baggy clothes, right? Ladies, this is not the time to be wearing that cute lacy camisole and these tight clothes that show off. It doesn't take a lot, okay? If you're a woman and you've been a woman for a while, we know it doesn't take a lot to get men excited, right? So, to think, oh, I'm just wearing this sweater right here and I'm wearing this t-shirt, this right here is enough to get somebody going, okay, and to bring attention. But if I just took this off and threw a baggy sweatshirt on with a hood, that does wonders, okay? Baggy jeans, some overalls, that type of stuff, sturdy boots so you can run and kick and things like that, okay? It really depends on what you're doing, but you're going to want sturdy everyday work clothes anyway with what's going on so that you can deal with different things that are happening, whether that's chores around the house, whether that's fortification, whether that's defensive, whether that's lookouts, whatever it is you're doing, you're going to want sturdy clothes, okay? But so think baggy, think layers, think stuff that's not form-fitting. A lot of stuff is form-fitting and shows enough of your badunkadunk, right? So think overalls, bigger things that it doesn't show curves. I know that sounds silly and, excuse me, I know a lot of people will be like, you sound a little, you know, how do I want to put this, right? Like trying to judge because I'm like, cover up yourself. You know, you're going to make somebody want to, you know, do something to you. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying though is it doesn't take that much. And when you're in concealment, baggy clothes, that's less thoughts possibly coming your way to do that. Again, if somebody wants to harm people, they want to harm people, they're going to do that regardless, okay? But you're going to want that stuff anyway, so just think that, okay? And not be coming out and stuff that, you know, is revealing. I'm in a t-shirt, but it's a little, you know, you can see my curves, okay? So that's what I'm talking about. Concealment too, you know, this is the area where some people say they go as far as, you know, females cutting hair and little girls cutting hair. That's your thing. If you want to do that, I don't know if I would do that or not. You know, I'm probably just, you know, I don't have any girls. That's a secret, okay? That's a new tip for you guys. We don't have any girls, okay, in this house. The females that are here are adults, okay? But I don't know that I would just go chopping off hair. I probably definitely would conceal, definitely keep it braided up, and tied up, and be having her in beanies and hats and that type of thing. But this is the thing. Think about this. You know, people, when they think about concealment and little girls and cutting their hair, it's to make them look like boys. That's the idea, so that they all look uniform and they look like little boys. The problem is with pedophiles and bad people that want to hurt your children, they're not necessarily going to care what gender your child is, okay? And so cutting hair might not be the best idea. You just don't know. So I'm going to go with God. I would probably just, like what I just said, right? Concealment with hair and that type of stuff as well. Not necessarily cutting it all off, right? Even my own hair, I would probably just be braiding it more, keeping it back because of obvious reasons. I have to be able to move, go, do chores, do things, to not get in my way of using, you know, my defensive tools, and to be able to, my eyesight, and to see things all around me. So that's probably what I'm doing. And then of course, more concealment, hats, whatever. Okay. So that was concealment. Next thing I have is no dress up. So again, this is not the time. I know a lot of females that have talked about this and have said, you know, they live out in the woods or the homestead or, you know, they're very proud and they're going to wear their lipstick and they're going to wear their mascara. And, you know, SHTF or not, I'm going to do my makeup because mentally that's going to make me feel better. But listen, that is not the time to practice your femininity. It's not the time, okay? You're just taking a chance, bringing more attention to you. It's just like possibly showing off curves. It's the same thing. Now, I know there's some people that might be getting upset with me right now. Some subscribers that are like, because I have a ton of female subscribers. They're like, you're really making us sound, you know, you got to just you cover it. You're going to be your fault if you get hurt, you know, cover up your curves, take off your lipstick. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that there is a place for concealment in your game plan, for protecting the females in your home. Concealment is the game. And those are things that play into identifying us as women, versus somebody else. Okay. And that's all I'm saying. Okay. Next thing I have is, I spoke about girls, boys, right? So the note about girls and boys, you know, you need to protect your little boys just as much as your little girls. Don't leave the boys and be like, oh, they're fine. And you're just concentrating on the girls, because we're talking about protecting females and girls and stuff like that, from rape, whatever. That stuff can happen to boys too. So you have to be looking out and protecting all children. So this video really covers, it's about females and that world, but really I'm kind of encompassing all your children, okay? This is what I have extra notes for children. I have 4 extra notes for children. Out of sight, so no kids. No kids are playing out in the yard. They're not hanging out in windows. They're not answering doors, if we're even to the point where we're answering doors. Kids are out of sight. We're dug in and you're out of sight. You're not going out of your way. You're a gray man, if you will. You're not going out of your way to let people see you. Even neighbors that know you have kids, right? Neighbors, backyard, whatever, that know you have kids, do not let them see your kids anymore. You know, let them wonder, man, is the family there or the kids there? None of your business, right? Do not let anybody see kids, right? It's not that it's a vulnerability, but it's a vulnerability, okay? And you can take that for whatever it is. You can disagree, agree, but children are a vulnerability because they're right here, okay? And it could be a good thing that they're a vulnerability, but it also can definitely work against you, okay? So out of sight, baggy concealment. So same thing, kids are no different than us. Baggy concealment. Again, you're telling them to stay out of sight, but just let's say you're on the go, whatever, baggy concealment. No talking. So if there is any kind of engagement with people, with a group of people, with a family, with anybody, our rule is no engagement for kids. Kids are not speaking in the conversation. It's adults only, and that's only if they are part of some sort of engagement, okay? And then must carry. So just like the theme I said of must carry defensive tools, you've got to, it's so important that you have your children learn stuff and have certain levels of defensive tools, okay, on them, okay? And that could be little things, little defensive tools, non-lethal type things, but you've got to have stuff with them, okay? That could be some basic spray on a string. That could be some stickies, right? I'm trying not to use words, right? I'm trying to just use keywords, but defensive tools, lethal and non-lethal. You've got to teach your children, get them some stuff, and make sure that they learn how to use it, but they've got to have their own stuff on them, okay? You never know what happens, and then all of a sudden you're gone and they need to protect themselves. Okay, I threw this in here just as a bonus. Make sure that obviously you're thinking about all the preps that have to do with females. Remember, I already did a video on this, but just some areas, right? Monthly periods, preps, baby preps, infant preps, toddler preps, birthing and birth preps. I've had a few people ask me to do that video on birthing and items that you could prep up or buy to be able to have a birth kit and have the basics needed in case you had to help somebody give birth. So that type of stuff, condom type stuff, right? So health, right? SEX, health, sex health, menopause, getting older, adult diapers, all of that stuff, okay? Preparing for that. So it's just preparing in general for the preps involved. And then the next thing I have is dig in and fortify. That's my best, dig in and fortify. That's my best advice to anybody, to all families. Majority of things that happen, you're going to dig in and fortify. Let that chaos happen, at least for 90 days. Let that go for a few months. Let people hurt themselves out there, away from your home. You dig in, you fortify, you don't let nobody in there. And you don't be out on those roads. That's where the majority of the chaos and harm and danger that could come to women and children is if you're on the roads. I'm gonna give you an example. If you watched Black Summer from Netflix, it was a zombie show. It was pretty good. If you like zombie shows, it was pretty good. It's on Netflix, Black Summer. But if you've watched it, there is a woman and a daughter in that show, and they survive. And the reason why they survive is because and they didn't cut their hair. They survived because they had each other. They had code at some point. They had defensive items. They had a way of defending themselves, right, back to back. They had code if they thought something was fishy and something was going down, and how they had already planned how to get out of different situations together. They were tough, and it's because they came together and they had a plan and they knew what they were doing. So it's not that you can't make it out there, right? It's not that it's impossible. But you need to make decisive decisions. You have to make decisions that are going to keep you guys alive. And obviously in that situation, they thought that they needed to leave, but they made it. So I'm not saying that it's impossible, okay? I'm just saying think about the things that you can do to prepare. And a subscriber the other day, we were back and forth in emails, and we were discussing how there's so much confusion right now in the world and different things that are happening, right? And I was expressing how, I'm very, very calm right now. Very, very calm. I'm not panicking or anxiety, but I'm just finding myself in a lot of confusion lately. Like, what is going on? Is this real? Is something else about to happen? I'm just really like head on a swivel trying to, I'm confused on exactly what to expect, right? Because there's so much stuff that's happening. And she just said, you know, basically she gave me some advisement and some excuse me, some advisement and guidance from God. And basically it was like, fear not. Fear not is an actual command in the Bible, mentioned over 70 times. Like God says, do not fear. So this video is not to cause panic, is not to cause fear. I am not fearful at all, okay? It's 100% in his hands, okay? However, fear not as well, just because you're a woman. However, make conscious decisions. If you're a single woman, you don't even have children, you're just a single woman and you're wondering, how would I make it through this? Apply this stuff to you yourself, okay? But really at the end of the day, you know, you're going to implement the things that you've learned that you're going to do for preparedness. And then you're going to trust in God. That's really the number one prep, the number one thing you can do. And fear not. I mean, he's already commanded it. It is a command, period. Okay. And so she sent that to me. It was the perfect time that, you know, confusion has no place. God is not confusing. There is no place for confusion with God. And so it just was a beautiful email that I needed to hear at the time. And so I thank her. I thank you. You know who you are if you're watching this video. And I just think that as we move forward with different things, there's a lot of chaos, kind of mini chaos happening now, right? In regards to what's going to happen, you know, what else could happen? How do we prepare? How do we know what is going to happen? And so it's a tumultuous time right now, right? And there's mini chaos happening everywhere. And all we can do is continue to keep the course, stay calm. I'm scary calm right now. Like I have chronic anxiety. That's what I deal with. But it is not, right now, I am calm. So keep preparing, keep the course. I'll make sure, I had a lot of people yesterday say they couldn't find the channel because it's so small, right? They couldn't find it by searching it. So I'll make sure today that I'll start linking the video. So the link to my second channel will be in the video description box of this video. From now on, it will be on all description boxes. And thank you for those that went over there and supported me with that. I appreciate you greatly. First video will be coming out this Friday, and I'm super excited to get that going. So I'll see you guys tomorrow on the next video. Take care. Blessings from my bear cave to yours.